Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Nguyen.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Tom King. I write Batman Bitch, and this is Bat Force Radio.
Welcome back to Bat Force Radio, the Batman and DC podcast with no limits. On this DC Fandom weekend, we have just finished recording a quick review episode of the events that went down at Fandom. So if you haven't checked that out already, go and check that one out and let us know what you thought of everything that we were shown, trailers, movie news, game news, all that good stuff. But for tonight, let's get to this week's roundtable. We've got Grandpa Batman in Texas.
Howdy.
Bat Force Times in New York. The Trunkler in Chicago. Teasus in New York.
Believes.
Bat Force Tom in California.
Whoa.
The Grumpler in New York.
Yo.
And I'm Robin Cross in Canada. And this week's guest is known as a founder, director, actor, screenwriter, on and on at Bat in the Sun, on web series and films like Superpower Beatdown, City of Scars, Ninjak vs. the Valiant Universe, among many, many others, as well as the upcoming Batman Dying is Easy. Welcome to the show, Mr. Aaron Schoenke.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How you doing?
Good. Thank you for taking the time to be here, man. How's life?
It's good. It's good. It's always busy. I'm always working on some sort of project. We just got wrapped filming Dying is Easy. It was a 5-day shoot over the course of 8 days, and it went really well. I think you guys can be real excited. We've had all kinds of cool Batman news released today with everything on DC Fandom and stuff, so it's a real exciting time to be a Bat fan.
Yeah. Did you get time today to watch any of the stuff they were dropping, or have you been?
I did. I managed to watch. I saw the Justice League Snyder cut, and I saw the Batman trailer as well.
Mm. What are your thoughts on what you saw today?
I thought the Batman trailer was fantastic. I personally like a dark, gritty Batman. I've always wanted the movie Seven, and Batman to be together. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan personally of Batman being involved in like big outer space battles with time travel and all that kind of stuff. It's just, that's not my personal forte. I mean, the great thing is that Batman's adaptable to a lot of different styles. It's just personally for me, I want Batman dealing with, smuggling and guns and drugs and dealing with psychotic people. So watching the Batman was really, really cool. I like that a lot. It had a very realistic vibe. So I enjoyed that more than the Snyder cut. I'm not a huge fan, and I'm sure some people here probably love. I'm not a huge fan of Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel. I think Ben Affleck is a fantastic Batman. I just think those stories are a little all over the place, and maybe this movie will solve a lot of those questions. But it's not my forte. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just some people like sushi. I don't like sushi.
and it is Batman becoming involved in those more universe-y stories.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
I'm more excited just from like a filmmaking standpoint, because it's real interesting that how they made the movie and then had they basically shot 2 movies, scrapped both of them, and then they reshot a new movie. And basically, so we're gonna have 4 hours from Snyder, and then we're gonna have 2 hours from Joss Whedon. It's just like, this has never happened in filmmaking ever, regardless of being superheroes. And it's like it's just so weird that we're gonna watch a movie that we've seen that'll be 100% different than what we saw, and it's just gonna be like, whoa, it's like. And the movie itself is an alternate dimension to itself, even though the movie deals with alternate dimensions. It's like almost like when they time travel to the Tim Burton universe, they should time travel to the Joss Whedon universe. That's how weird it is. But it's what makes it interesting, though, I think. I'm kind of more excited just to be like, what happened here? How did this happen? But it has Batman and it has Affleck as it, so I'm down,
Yeah,
and then it shows that studios are actually listening now to the audience, with
social media platform and stuff like that, it's almost easier for us as the audience to communicate to the studios and be like, no, this is what we want, and
Right.
for them to respond that way. Have you
yeah.
found that to be true with kind of Bat in the Sun as well?
We've always had, ever since we've had good relationships with the studios. You know, we did the Power Rangers on Beatdown, and then we ended up working with Saban and doing a lot of their stuff and redesigned the Green Ranger, which is now implemented in continuity and canon across the board, if you're a Rangers fan. And Warner Brothers has always been a fan. You know, I've been invited down to a lot of their projects and premieres. Never directed anything for them. I would really like that. I know some fans have. They've mentioned they want to start up like a petition, like after Dying is Easy comes out, because they're like, let's start up a petition, because, you know, if the video, as people project, could get a couple million views, you get a couple million signatures, and then, you know, AT&T would listen up. So I don't know, you know, Mike, that'd be cool, but it's all about the fans, and I do the Batman stuff for my own personal love for the character and stuff like that, and love for filmmaking. So it'd be cool to do something, you know, even if it'd be to direct a creeper series or a short film or anything like that. It'd be cool. But
Aaron, how do you feel about the suit in the Batman trailer? You know,
so it's the film. So the film is not classically Batman in the sense the way that he looks. You know, which is, I think, after 10 movies now, I would like just one classic, like, oh, that's our definitive Batman. I think it's sad that we got our first Ninja Turtles movies out the gun in the 90s was like perfect. And I was like, how is it Ninja Turtles went 1 for 1 and we're still like 0 for 10 with Batman, you know? But I think that the costume works for the story. Even like look at Batman Returns. It's not comic book accurate at all, but I love it for what it is. You know, I can appreciate that. I hate when fans get down on adaptations, even though that's what I was just doing. As long as the movie's good, I can kind of get behind that. But after a while, though, it's like, just can you give me what I've been reading for 30 years and then do your Elseworlds? I'm fine with that. Like, everyone loved, you know, Joaquin's Joker, and it's great. His performance is great. I would say the greatest performance as the Joker ever, better than Heath or Jack, even though Jack is my favorite because I grew up with it. But it's like, I would just like a definitive version, please, and then do whatever you want, you know, like, and that's my thing with the new one. I was like, it looks cool, but it's not definitively Batman. You know, I felt that Ben was pretty close, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to do with Dying is Easy, you know, so we'll see. But I think I'm excited. I'm way more excited for that than I have been for any Batman movie in a long time.
That's what I was excited whenever it was revealed for the Dying is Easy. Go ahead, Tom.
I was saying, speaking of suits, man, the suit that you revealed that Reeve put together looks fucking incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
How did that all come together? That specific suit.
Well, I've been working with Reeves for 10, 12 years, and he's as big of a Batman fan as I am. We'll kind of jest back and forth who's a bigger Batman fan, and we'll
he's
compare.
He's a super Keaton fan too.
He's a big Keaton fan, and I always tell him, I go, you're a bigger 89 fan, even though I'm a huge 89 fan. I'm planning on I want to buy the 89 Batmobile. He is a bigger 89 Batman fan, but I always say I think I'm a bigger Batman fan. But we go back and forth. That's not to discredit him in any way. He's wonderful and he's a huge Batman fan. But like, I love the comic books and read. I love Batman psychology. That's like my favorite thing. That's why I like what it is. But with the costume though, you know, I kind of told him what I wanted. You know, I said we got to have armor, a little armor on the outside, but not too armory, because it can get, you know, you want to keep so it's organic, so Batman still looks like a demon, you know, but while he still looks, you know, not. Sometimes when you adapt the comics 100%, it can look a little silly. Like, you know, we used texturized fabric on top, and then he has an armored muscle suit underneath, and then he has an actual like armored suit, a little bit plates on the top. So it's like, how can you take a little bit of the Arkham games, a little bit of, you know, Ben Affleck's suit, you know, a little bit of Keaton in there, and try to, you know, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Batman. So it's like, you know, all the elements. My biggest thing that I've always wanted, and I thought they got this right with Ben, but we've had Kevin Porter, our Batman, for 12 years now, but I'm a big fan of a big Batman. And that's one of the things I'm not super pumped about Robert Pattinson is he's my height and size. You know, he's 6 foot. 180 pounds. And growing up playing sports, football, and growing up watching Arnold movies, to me, it's just there's a certain thing. And as a guy, who's more into that stuff, it's like our Batman, Kevin Porter, he's 6'5", 240, and then he wears this armored suit. And if you see photos next, Kevin's enormous. Like I always say, he's a life-size Batman, and it's like you look at him, you're like, that would scare the shit out of me if that jumped out at night. Like it's huge, and he's like, he looks like this big, So I like a big Batman, kind of the way he was in Dark Knight, and the way Jim Lee draws him and stuff. So it was really important that he have that stature and have that fierceness in the cowl, like that more gritty look. So,
and I love
got
that
a great
your cowl
scowl.
has the implied scowl.
Yeah. And Kevin's got a great voice. He doesn't need a voice modulator. He doesn't sound like he's forcing it. Like even like the right, yeah, where it doesn't have Christian Bale's, voice, which is so silly. And then even like, even Pattinson today, which I thought his voice was good, but it just, there's a certain gutturalness, and I don't know how big you guys are, but like when you're a big dude, you have a big rib cage, and it's just like, even when like I do a Batman voice, I always say, that's what Dick Grayson would sound like if he did a Batman voice. He'd be like, I'm vengeance, I'm Batman. And you'd be like, that sounds like Nightwing. That doesn't sound like Batman, So, right, yeah. So I do the Joker, though, which is a little, different, but that fits my frame, Hello there, people, and how are we today? It's a little different, but it's just a presence, like an alpha maleness that when just, he has a commanding voice, which I think is really important.
I can't remember if it was you guys that. Oh, sorry. I was saying. I can't remember if it was you guys that were posting it or if it was him that posted it, but he was doing like his ADR for I think it was Batman Vader, and he showed how it's like he uses nothing. It's just he's using his own voice, and I remember thinking like, oh, he has some form of voice changing software or something, and then seeing him do it once where he's like speaking normally and then immediately switches is like insane. I was like, holy crap, that's his voice. That's him.
He did a video recently because he was in the hospital, and he was and Kevin actually his normal talking voice is a little higher than you would think would be. He's really nice in his candor because he's not Batman, so he's normal, but then he'll sink into it, and I'm just like, damn. I was like, you switch so much. It looks like a voiceover, because I was like, how do you you drop your voice like 6 octaves? I was like, how do you do that? But his voice is like, to me, and this is, everyone would probably hate me for saying this, but I like his voice better than Kevin Conroy's, only because he's a bigger dude, and to me, I can hear it in his voice that he's bigger. He's putting on less of a voice. Also, Kevin Conroy is doing it for an animation, which is a different world than doing it for live action. You have to be a little bigger, a little cartoonier. So I've never heard Kevin Conroy do his voice in a live action sense, and I would like to hear that. But just when you're a big dude, you just have generally a deeper voice where it just resonates. So, but they're very similar though. They always say that Kevin sounds like he's doing Kevin or whatever, but no disrespect to Kevin Conroy, who is arguably the definitive Batman voice, as is Mark Hamill as the definitive Joker voice.
So and you guys always had a great combination of how perfectly suited Kevin is for Batman, and we understand what you're saying about how different his voice is when he's not doing Batman. He's been on the show here a couple of times over the years, but the way that he is so perfectly suited for Batman and how you guys use Batman in your productions, and having that combination of what Reeve does with those suits. I've seen so many things, like when we see the Titans show or the Gotham. That's the best example. That Gotham on Fox show, when they showed a bat suit, like, how did this happen on Fox when Reeve exists? Why did you let someone make their first ever bat suit for television when Reeve exists? I can't understand it.
I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of times they don't care, or they don't know. They get people in there that don't understand comic books. I've been to the set of a lot of superhero movies, and I'm often blown away and insulted by how little they know or how much they like to acclimate. And then they show high production value, and then the fans swoon. But I'm like, you're still not getting what is true to the character. I think it's weird. I look at it this way, and I think it's strange that they feel the need to change a lot of things, because when you adapt a movie like a live action character, if you're bringing Abraham Lincoln or like Martin Luther King, you're not gonna be like, let's put a spin on it and change it. And I was like, don't do that. Like, put it the way it is. Like, this is the character. Like when Daniel Day-Lewis played, Lincoln, I was like, that's Lincoln. That's the way it should be. Why can't we just, and just from a business standpoint, I'm always like, it's worked for 80 years. You're given this blueprint. Do it. Like, I don't know what's so hard. And they're like, we have to always reinvent it and outthink the fans and give them what we think that they want. And I was like, that just seems like we're overthinking it. But,
it's the same kind of logic that has led to us never having Harley Quinn in Harley Quinn's suit in the movies.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing about the Bat and the Sun productions. When you look at those, it's like there's no question. That's Batman. That's Batman's suit. It's gray. It's black. It's it's Darth Vader or Wolverine or whatever. And these big studios, it's like you immediately have to start making excuses, or you find yourself doing that.
Yeah, that is interesting that you bring up that point, though, Aaron. Like, I never really thought about that, because you take like Darth Vader, like no one's ever done anything that isn't the Darth Vader, and but they'll do it with other characters who have way more of a specific lore for longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like, you're right. Like, I never thought of that. It's like, imagine if you guys, when you did Batman versus Vader, did something like, let's do Vader, but with a different color suit and like a different type of helmet and no cape. Like, what? Like, I never.
And
thought
he can
of that.
talk like this, mate.
Yeah, like why? Like Vader seems to be safe. Like Star Wars seems to be safe, and it just seems like Batman. You're right. Like, is it maybe because the creators are selfish and they want to give you what their version is, and kind of put the fans aside? It seems like that, but it's interesting though, because you guys are at a point now with like the crowdfunding, and then also kind of what we're seeing with the fandom thing. Like Gramps was saying earlier, the audience now seems to have a bigger voice than they ever have, and so maybe now we'll start to see, now that we are speaking with our wallets very clearly to like studios and stuff, and bullying studios into giving Zack Snyder a camera again. Maybe like they'll listen to some of the comic book fans who have been trying to be as loud and do something along the lines of that. And like, that's my thing too, is like, you go on Bat and the Sun, you go on your YouTube channel, you look at your YouTube views and the number count that you guys get off your videos. How does a studio not look at that? And clearly fans love this stuff, and they're continuously going back and watching it over and over. They're resharing it constantly. Batman Vader comes out, like, it goes viral like once a year at least. It just continuously goes viral. And like, how does a studio not look at that and be like, all right, well, maybe this is the formula that we're missing, that we're not doing? Because it's like, you guys are doing it and it's working,
Right. Yeah. I wish I knew. I wish I knew all these answers, but we'll see.
It works for you guys. I mean, it works for you. Like, it's your numbers don't lie.
Yeah, if you guys were to get enough traction, get those petitions out there, get them shared around and get them signed, then we could definitely do that. I can actually, let me see real quick. If I do some screen shares, can you guys see this real quicker? I'm gonna send you some things here. Let's see if this works. Does this work? Let's see. Send that one. Oh, here we go. Check this out. This is a still. He only has a cameo in this. It doesn't have a long one, but we're gonna cameo a couple different people, and Dying is easy. And he only has 2 shots in the movie. This is just for your guys' eyes only. Let me know if this goes through.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Oh damn!
Oh shit! Well, let's not say anything, but
that's very cool.
Wow.
So hopefully you guys like that, and then let's see real quicker. I could probably, I can probably throw a few more on here real quicker.
That's perfect.
See, this is exactly why people love Bat in the Sun. You guys, pay tribute to, the comics, and it's exactly what we've wanted to see, always wanted to see. It shows me that you really can make a live action version of these characters and do it well.
Yeah.
We need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
They do that. Yeah. They're always like, how do we give them what they think they want? And I'm like, I think they just want it to be done correctly. There's a way to do it so it doesn't look like like it, you don't want it to look cosplay or anything like that. You want it to look like professional. And then what we do is all of us are working professionals.
Oh, man.
See, Aaron, you thought this was going to be an interview. No, we're just here to heap loads and loads of compliments to you because we are so thankful for what you're doing. And we've wanted you to be on this show for so long, and now we have our chance, and just want to express our gratitude. And I'm proud to be a sponsor for Dying is Easy, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Gramps, how do you go about doing that, by the way, so the fans know?
Well, it's on Indiegogo.
It is, yeah. It's on Indiegogo. Dying is Easy. A lot of people have contributed, and then I matched. So we raised $41,000, and I matched it, so the budget's around $82,000. And we just announced today that we have Michael Madsen on the project. Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs. He's in Kill Bill. He's playing Harvey Bullock. So
insane. Perfect. That's insane.
Yeah, he has big scenes. He's one of the biggest actors in it in terms of lines. All these other ones I'm showing you are just little cameos. Here is we redid my look a little bit for the Joker here. I actually dyed my hair and eyebrows. If you can see me right now, my hair is actually
shit.
Holy shit. Great.
You did a post the other day about your weight loss. Talk about that transformation and process.
Yeah, I did. So I normally weigh about 175 pounds at 6 foot, and I got down to 148 or 148. So to be the Joker. But I got to put all this weight back on because we're doing this White Dragon project where I play the villain. So I got to get back up to like 180 something. But yeah, I got real thin for it. But you want to give the best that you can and just dedicate it. Kevin lost a bunch of weight, and it's been really cool. We've done a lot of cool stuff. We had once again a cameo, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with who Doug Jones is.
Yeah.
Doug Jones is going to cameo as Edward Nygma. So
Doug Jones is very cool. That's very cool that you got him. If you guys don't know who Doug is, he's basically the guy that Guillermo del Toro puts in everything.
Yeah.
He was Ape Sapien in Hellboy. He was was in The Shape of Water.
So to lose all this weight, you're saying that you and Kevin couldn't go to Ernie's Mexican restaurant?
Well, the weird thing is that people ask me how I lost weight, and I have just a crazy fast metabolism. And this sounds silly. I just stopped going to the gym and just started drinking and eating Starbucks every day, and I just lost a bunch of weight, which is the opposite of what anyone should ever do to lose weight. But I have a freakish, metabolism. Now I got to getting all the way back on is what's really, really hard. And it's like, I just ordered all my protein drinks and all these things. So, but here I downloaded it. Let me see if this photo work here. This photo. I keep sending you guys photos. But these are not for public viewing; they're just for your guys. Some of these aren't even color corrected. But
should we just as a note here? Should we also cut out any where we've mentioned who you have shown here?
You can mention all that. That's fine.
Okay,
that's totally fine. But I want to just show you guys some of the coolness from
that
the
looks really good.
project.
So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get into your own origin story. Now, I know that you founded Bat in the Sun, I believe, with your father. So obviously, on some level, your father was one of your influences for this. But what got you into not only the comic world, but the filmmaking world, and down the road that you got to where you are?
Basically, my dad is a huge influence. He's just a big influence and my best friend. But he was into comics when he was a kid. You know, he watched the Spider-Man cartoon in the '60s and read Neil Adams comics when he was in the '70s, and then the '89 Batman movie came out, and I'm sure that probably all of us are really close to the same age, and that's what got me into superheroes. And then the X-Men cartoon came out in the early '90s, and then the Batman the animation, or vice versa. But that's really what kind of really jump-started it all. And then I was into filmmaking as well. Like I said, my dad's a musician and just an artist overall, so I was just kind of involved with art and like creating, telling stories, and he was always doing that. So I was like, let's do this. So love superheroes. I do a lot of original stuff that is not online or doesn't get as much traction because obviously superheroes are so big. But that's kind of what it got into, and I started doing that when I was 8 and 9. So, hey, Steve.
Yep.
I hate your room, by the way. I'm a big Patriots fan. I just thought I'd say that. Every time I look, I get half distracted, and I was like, screw Steve. But I don't know. You're totally...
It's funny. Right before you got on, I checked out your Instagram.
Yeah.
You had a Super Bowl hat on backwards, and I zoomed in. I was like, what team is that? Because it looked kind of worn out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, maybe it's a Steelers hat. But now I know, and now I'm a little more disappointed, but it's fine.
You're our only kryptonite. Otherwise, we're the
I know.
But
yeah, well, we could talk one day. I can show you pictures of my man cave. It's really disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big Brady fan, so I worship Brady. He's a great man. So
you could have a really weird year, huh?
Well, I mean, I think everyone has, but I was like on top of it, seeing Brady in a Buccaneers uniform was just like, I was like, it's even like, I don't know what's going, like on top of everything else,
That's a 2020 move. That's all. It's a 2020 verse.
I was telling people, this is terrible, and this is a total joke, and I don't mean this, but I was like, I was listening to all these terrible things that happened. I was like, but the weirdest thing all year, the worst thing is like Tom Brady in a Buccaneers jersey. I was like, it's so weird. Like it got me the most because I'm kind of a hermit anyways. I don't really go out, so I don't see a lot of the pandemic, And I'm like, but every day I have ESPN on. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is weird. But I digress. I don't know how many football fans we have listening, but and I wish everyone health and safety and for everyone to take care of themselves. But
2 New York Giants fans, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Jesus,
believe him.
I got your back, Aaron. I like Brady.
I can't wait to play Brady on Madden. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play.
Should be fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk on the side. That'll be a funny conversation.
I just had to give a shout out to you. I kept looking up and I was like, oh, yeah, right there. I know every time I was like, oh.
What's that Giants filter? It's weird.
I don't know. Back to the origins. Yeah, just we started making films and a long time ago before YouTube, and then YouTube came out, and we just made cool stuff to put out there, and a lot of it went viral. And we work in the industry as well. We were first started a long time ago on the show Deadliest Warrior that was on Spike TV. I did the motion capture for the Spider-Man games for Andrew Garfield. I was just double on the games, and just working on a lot of different things. So, but we ended up, like our fight choreographer does all of Marvel's Netflix stuff, Alvin Singh. So like we do a lot of work in the industry, but then we also are big fans and we like the stuff. And we did a lot of the Mobile Strike commercials, but we're like, let's just make some cool shit though. I used to play a card game called Overpower back like in the 90s, and I was like, and just like like just like sports, you're always comparing who's Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Joe Montana, and obviously it's Brady, but it's funny to like do that with superheroes. Now like in sports world, you can definitively say who is, more rings, but and more wins, but now that I know that I'm a Brady fan, I'm gonna keep saying it. But like with football, superheroes, it's so cool to do that because there is no definitive answer. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like realistically, this character would do this, and that's how B-Town kind of got started. And it's fun to get like like I said, you guys are the same age as me, so it's like you grew up where superheroes weren't as popular as they are now. Yeah. And it was always kind of like rare to see someone with like a Batman shirt on or whatever. And I was like, oh, you're a Batman fan, let's hang out and talk. So the reason why we started Beatdown also and going to the conventions and stuff was to like get everyone together to like talk, like to bring that community together, to be like, let's just have this good discussion. sometimes it turns into like a crazy debate where people get so mad, like, like F you, like there's no way Master Chief's will live. I hope you fucking die. And I was like, okay, it's all fictional stuff here, man. Like, we're like, that's not real. And I was like, it's not real even when you play the game. So it's just, it's just supposed to enjoy it. It's free entertainment. Watch it, enjoy it, and we make alternate endings. I don't know what you want, but it's just supposed to, bring people together. And I love when people come up to me and they're like, I love this stuff, man. I grew up watching superheroes and it's cool to see them battle. And I was like, that's what it's there for. Joy.
So Aaron, I mean, I know it's a lot of hard work, tons of hard work, but like, how much fun is it? I mean, you get to create these worlds, that, you grew up reading about. I mean, it's got to be tons of fun.
It's tons of fun. It's a lot of blast. It's a blessing to be able to do it, and I'm glad that everyone else really likes it. I mean, like I said, I'm in tune. I think it's weird because whenever we work with the studios, we're like, what would the fans want? And I was like, what I never asked myself, what would the fans want? I go, because I'm a huge fan. My room is coated with toys and action figures and everything. Like, my whole room is like blanketed with it. So I was like, I know, not the presumptuous, like I know, because even still, everyone has a definitive Batman in their mind and how it is, and you gotta people gotta adhere to that. And that was a big thing with Beatdown, because it's like you're gonna adapt Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman's been adapted 3 or 4 different ways, in the comic book. So it's like, how do you define what Wonder Woman is, and how does that cut out other people's opinions? But it's a lot of fun. It is a ton of work, though. It's like, I don't think people understand. Like, someone just today, I posted this picture saying that Dying is Easy is going to be around 12 to 15 minutes long. And someone's like, what? How's that possible for $41,000? Like, why isn't this done already? And I was like, I guess you just don't understand filmmaking. I was like, they spend, months working on one episode of The Flash, and that costs $4 million to produce 45 minutes. I was like, our outfit alone would have cost $100,000 if everyone didn't work for free. I was like, locations cost $10,000 a day. I mean, we have giant asylum sets that we use. We have crazy things, and it's just like we're coming in at 82,000 with everyone working for free. It's just people don't understand like just how much things cost. It's like we gotta, we had one day on set where we had 42 people on set, and I was like, the food budget alone is like $2,500 for that day, let alone, you gotta have COVID protocols, so you gotta have all the hand sanitizers with the masks, you gotta have all the different distancing things. Then you got to pay for the wardrobe, the costumes, there's a lot of inmates. There's just a lot of little things that you wouldn't think to have. You got to rent extra little tripod stands and sliders and lenses. It's a lot of work, but, and at the end of the day, we don't make any money. I know we're always, the beatdowns cost anywhere between $20,000 to $50,000 to produce. And I always say I'd rather, instead of like, oh, you can redo your kitchen or you can make a beatdown. I was like, I'd rather make a beatdown. That's just more fun. Like, I don't really care what color my cupboards are. I was like, I want to have fucking Wolverine and, Predator go at it. So I always think it's really fun when fans get really snooty or snippy or ungrateful. And I was like, I make the money that I do like on like my actual profession, working on commercials and stuff, and I spend it on here. So but like at the end of the day, I love it, and I love my crew, and I couldn't do without my cast and crew, and I consider the Bat and the Sun group a family, and I think everyone that's in it does the same thing. It's just fun working on set. Everyone works hard. You do your job, to quote Belichick, but it's a lot of work every time, Stephen. But it's a lot of fun though, and it's a privilege, and I'm glad that I'm in a position to be able to don't show me any New York Giants if that's
all right. You thought me.
I will put on my Patriot helmet and wear it the rest of the podcast. I have 2 of them, but one for Brady's helmet, one for regulation helmet. But it's a privilege to be able to do it, and I think in a way it's like I have to do it because I think Kevin is this great Batman, and we have this great opportunity, and I just want to make sure it's done because I've never seen it. Like, it's kind of like I wish they would do it on screen because I was like, I feel like if I don't do it, I don't know if we'll ever see it. So
sure,
we're going out with Dying Easy. We're going all in on it.
You're giving all of us that too. When we have Kevin here on the show, we refer to him as the people's Batman because he's what everyone has always wanted to see of an on-screen Batman. The way that you guys pull all the aspects of the character together.
Yeah.
But City of Scars is now 10 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So what has changed? What do you guys do differently? What have you learned and evolved when you know, what you're doing now? You just shot Dying is Easy versus 10 years ago doing City of Scars.
Well, I mean, it's everything was smaller back then, and you're just younger, and you're doing things a little more off the cuff. I mean, the budget for that was 27,000, and that was 27 minutes long, I guess, or it was 21,000 and 20, something like that. But for this one, I told you we spent like 82,000, and it's only like 15 minutes. But everything's a lot more professional. Everything's a lot, you're shooting on 4K cameras. You have huge sets. You're renting large. Like I said, we had 42 people on set one day, and you're dealing with a lot of digital stuff. And our new costume, like I told you what it would have cost if we had to really spend all that money on the work. And it's just everything's a lot better and a lot more proficient. So it's just, I mean, you start working on films and you see like, oh, I see why this movie cost $100 million. It's a lot. And even still, I think we come in amazingly inexpensive for being able to produce. Like I said, Daredevil on Netflix costs $3 to $4 million an episode. And if you break for 45 minutes, and I don't know if the math is on that, but I think it's like $1 million every like 12 minutes. I was like, and we're doing this for 82,000. So we're doing it for a tenth the cost, and that's like having to do, and we're doing a lot of elaborate things, a lot of cameos. Like I said, we have Bullock, Ivy, Freeze, Riddler, and then we tackle Batman and Joker. So it's and the Batmobile will be featured in it and stuff in the Batcave and stuff. So it's pretty crazy. But it should hopefully look more professional, and it's a lot. I don't know if you guys ever saw Patient J, which we did in 2003 forever ago, which was all dialogue. It's like the Dying is Easy is almost like a soft reboot of City of Scars and City of Scars and Patient J combined. So, but I'm really excited for you guys to see it, and after we release it, we should all hop back on here and do another.
That'd be great.
Podcast. And you can let me know if you liked it, if you hated about it.
I actually have a quick question. You said
Tom
you're
Brady's the greatest. Steve, Tom Brady's the greatest.
You said you're on set for about 5 days.
Yeah.
How long is the editing process typically? Obviously, you keep editing until it feels right, but
yeah,
I think that's an aspect that a lot of fans don't understand, that the editing is such a ground and pound, and you keep doing it until organically it feels right that you can release it to everyone. But that's such a time-consuming and emotional process. But on an average, do you guys spend like another certain amount of days, or you kind of just do it until it's right? Or
yeah, I do. I was distracted by how much I hate the Grumpler, but man, that's the only team that can do that. Otherwise, the Patriots dominate everyone. But you guys got 2 lucky plays too. But
3 times in a row. But
it's all right. It's all right. I respect. I like football. I always like the fake trash talk. It's never anything personal.
It makes it fun for sure.
Brian, I'll get to your question or answer there. Brian Regan, up here, listens as a comedian. He had the best thing about this. He said that he flew down and he's a comedian, and he had to do a thing in Miami, and he was cold because he thought it'd be hot down there, and he bought a Miami Dolphins sweater, and then he had to fly to Buffalo. And then people were like assholes. And he was like, "Are you really going to beat me up because I'm wearing a dolphin on my shirt?" He's like, let's be real here, guys. And I was like, it's just fun. Don't take it too seriously. Although I went to New York 2 years ago, and I was decked out in Patriot stuff, and everyone was not the friendliest looks. But except from California. But anyways, answer your question. The editing does take a long time. We have a lot of post-production, so we immediately, effects are already being done, like that freeze shot that I showed you already had visual effects done to it. The editing for 12 minutes, we're looking to have it out on Halloween. So that's about 2 months from now. But we're a little worried that we won't get it out by Halloween just because there's a lot of visual effects. And you will watch it and you're like, there wasn't a lot of crazy explosions or action. I was like, there's just a lot of visual effects that have to get taken care of to go on there. The editing is probably one of the quickest parts of post-production. Visual effects and sound is a big one too, though. So all 3 are constantly being worked on. And then it's like you got to find, because we do so many takes, you got to find out what works. I did a lot of different takes as Joker with different emotions. And it's like, does this one read better? Does this not read better? Show people like it, not like it, stuff like that. But editing is my favorite part, though. When I shoot to edit. I have a photographic memory, so I know, okay, we need this, we need this, we need this. So, a lot of times directors don't edit their own stuff, and I don't even understand how that works because like I'm already pre-visualizing how it's going to work. But it's editing is like my favorite because it's also the most controlled part of filmmaking, the post-production. Like on set, it's bonkers. Like when we had 42 people on set on the day when we shot at Arkham Asylum, that was an 18-hour day on set. That was like we were on set for 18 hours just because you're going like it's nuts. And I don't know if you guys ever worked an 18-hour day where you're going 100% for 18 hours. It is like crazy delirious. And then you have one day off and then you're like back on set for another 15 hours because your average filmmaking day on set is 12 hours. That's like the short day. If you get out of there at 12 hours, you're like, oh, we had a short day today, which is like, if you work like a regular job, like 8 hours is like too long. But, but so post-production is my favorite part, but it's a long, long part. I mean, I'll end up watching the movie 10,000 times just because I have to see it so much.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine, like you have everyone suited up, people have makeup on, you want to maximize that time. So
yes,
12 to 15 to 18 hours, you want to maximize that. You don't want to lose, and you want things to be consistent as well. So I can see why it's a whole day,
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. And, you got to work fast, you got to be competent, and everyone's got to be doing their job. And like Batman's suit's really hot, so you got to make sure that you're, keeping Kevin cool, and because they're able to keep it cold on set, and then he has to do a fight scene or whatever, and it's just, or like how's the makeup handling up because we have Ivy in full body makeup, we have Freeze in full body makeup, but then it's like it took Ivy like 8 hours to get in the costume with all the makeup, if not I think longer. She was up at 3 a.m. and did not go on set until like 2 p.m. Wow. And but she's only in like 3 or 4 shots though. You barely see her, but it's like to do it right though, and then we had like a whole 2 days of test makeup. Like this is how crazy Ivy was. We spent like one day doing test makeup, her and me as Joker, and then we did a follow-up day because we did it again, and then on the actual day we spent like I said 8 hours or 10 hours, however long it was, to have her in shot. And when you watch it, you're like, Ivy was literally in that movie for like 15 seconds. So it's like it's so much work, and you got to pay for every one of those days. You got to pay for the makeup that's used. You got to like design there and say, how do you want to make Ivy look? Does Ivy look like, where she's supposed to look really sexy and she looks like a pinup model, or should she look more green, where you can see like the veins underneath her skin like vines, and does she look a little more scary? Like there's a lot that goes into it. So like the wig alone was like I think like $1,000 just that we had to wig because it's like real human hair that we do in there, and people just don't understand like this is like because we're using real Hollywood resources, so it's like how would Hollywood do it, and then we're just going to do that because I don't want people to be like, oh, in the movies it's. I was like, no, this is it. This is basically everyone that works in the movies, putting our own time in, because realistically, if everyone got paid their own rate, this movie would cost probably like $400,000, because everyone's like Kevin's day rate, as an actor is like I think $1,200, but he works for free, so it's like Doug Jones's day rate I'm sure is $5,000 a day, whatever, 10,000, 20, 30, 40,000. I don't know, but it's like if everyone's getting their day rate, we had Harley Quinn as Amy Johnson, who's Scarlett Johansson's stunt double, it's just like, how many, but they come down because they love it, they love it like we do, and they want to be a part of it. So, there's a lot of really hardworking, talented people who love. And that's kind of the cool thing too, is that when you show up not for a paycheck but for the love of it, you're into it more and you're willing to put in more time, because you're never thinking like, well, how much am I getting paid? It's just like, I love this. This is so cool. Like what's cool, like when Kevin walks on set as Batman at the beginning of the day, everyone is just like, oh, it's so cool. Like it's just because that's cool. People love that. So you put
I had lunch with Kevin a couple of years ago at Ernie's, and I always wanted to be an extra in your.
Are you in LA?
No, I'm in Texas.
Oh, you got Dallas. You got the Cowboys or Texans fan? Either way, I'm sorry.
Either. I'm actually a Niners fan, but I do like the Patriots when they had Brady. I'm more of a Brady fan, not so much the Patriots, but Brady, because he's a textbook prototypical quarterback.
Yeah. No, for sure, yeah. No, he's good. He's the greatest. But yeah, it's just a lot of work. You put a lot of work in. So I don't know, but I hope we deliver for you guys because that's all I do.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for you to do beat down with Batman versus the Crow.
Yeah, people say I should play the.
Now I'm just putting in my wish list.
What would your wish list be? What have you not gotten to yet that you still have on your list?
Truth be told, I'm doing a lot of work outside of Beatdown, and Beatdowns are coming out less and less just because we're working on so many other projects. Beatdowns that are left that I want to do, I really want to do a Ninja Turtle, because I grew up with Ninja Turtles. I thought Ninja Turtle, like Raphael versus Robin, would have been cool. Damian Wayne. A big one I want to do was like the Mask versus Beetlejuice. I thought that would be a really fun one. Anything Batman related is always cool to me. I thought like a 4-way battle of all the Robins would be cool, like Battle for the Gal. But Nightwing would, of course, win that because he's always won that. But I'm truth be told, I played Nightwing, but I'm really I'm getting too old to be Nightwing. Actually, I'm way too old to play Nightwing. But I auditioned to be Nightwing on the Titan show, and had a real shot at it because of how weird that audition process. But it was like me and like 10 other people that it came down to, or like 8 other people. So The studio was what it was. They wanted the kid that does it now. They wanted him from the beginning, and that's kind of how a lot of those things work, because he was in Pirates and he's been in a lot of big things, and he has like the experience of being the lead of a show, which I do not. But and then they put out the offer to him, and then he kind of like, from my understanding, he kind of was unsure of it, and then Warner Brothers like released everyone else that had auditioned, and then he was like, well, I'll do Nightwing, but I don't want to shave. And they're like, well, you have to shave and you have to put on weight. And he was like, I don't really want to. This is a story I was told. I did not hear this from him. So if he's like, that's not what happened there, and I'd be like, this is what I was told. So then what happens is Warner Brothers was scrambling because they already had gone into production of the series, and they're like, we don't have a confirmed Dick Grayson. We need to we need Dick Grayson. So they basically just reached out to just a few quick people to submit, and I was one of those people. So I was always curious if he eventually was like, nah, man, I like the stash, I'm keeping it. I'd be like, would I have gotten that role? So but I talked with Jeff Johns, and I know that Marv Wolfman, who created Nightwing, he's liked me as Nightwing, so I was like, oh, it was cool, but it just didn't work. Granted, I think I'm like 4 years older than the kid that's playing him right now. And when I read the script originally, I was like, this is so weird, because he's supposed to be young because he's not Nightwing, but he's already made like lead detective as a cop. And I was like, you can't do that when you're like 26 though. And I was like, and they're like, you're like a old veteran, but not Nightwing. And I was like, I don't know what, I mean, sure. I was like, I guess this could work. I don't know. But I hear the show is cool though. I've never really I don't have really time to watch. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch football, Family Guy, and Fresh Prince. That's about all I got.
Quality shows.
They don't have superpowers, but could we eventually get Will versus Jazz on Superpower Beatdown?
Will would win. You should get Jazz versus Carlton, but then they competed on the show. It was like they had like the talk show. I'm a big Fresh Prince. That's like my favorite show of all time. But Will would destroy Jazz. Jazz would be like his like Robin though. He would like pull him out. You know what I'm saying?
But maybe we could have like a situation where like Jazz is winning, then Uncle Phil shows up and throws him out the door.
I'd be down with that. Uncle Phil is the greatest on-screen moral character of all time. I love Uncle Phil. Bust that Lucille. Uncle Phil is the coolest.
I was gonna say I think that's a pretty perfect way to wrap it up on Uncle Phil there. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We know you're busy with a lot of stuff, but everyone get out there, support Bat in the Sun, get on the Indiegogo. I think you've still got a Patreon up, and watch for Dying is Easy coming up, hopefully on Halloween.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy it. That's what we do. So let me know. Be honest. If you're like, Aaron, you suck as Joker, I'd be like, fair enough.
That opinion may be colored by football fandom.
Yeah. You have a season, and thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Have a good night. Thank you. Stay safe.
Good night. Hey, Gotham dwellers. Make sure to stop everything right now and subscribe to Bat Force Radio. We can be found on iTunes and SoundCloud. Don't miss out. Guaranteed to satisfy all of your Batman and DC needs.
Tonight, villain, a new